What's good? This is Trey, and in this Facebook Live, I'm gonna talk about how I went from being a shy guy, like the way I was described by girls is like, "Oh, you're shy," and that's how they would describe me. How I went from that to becoming self-confident with women. So basically, now going from shy guy was basically like a guy who, couldn't express himself in front of women, couldn't really talk to them without being nervous or anxious, or even with some girls I remember like sweating. So like just not being in control of myself or confident or comfortable while interacting with women. How I went from that to now literally being able to go out and approach like women that I don't know, random women, and communicate to them in such a way where they are willing to give me their phone number and then go on a date with me and then end up in a romantic and sexual relationship with me, right? And we have to keep in mind that there's other guys in their lives, right? Other guys in their social circle, other guys they grew up with, and they're choosing me, the guy who they just randomly met wherever. You see what I'm saying? So to go from being a shy guy to that, I think is quite an evolution. So I kind of just want to go into how I was able to do that. Right? So when we talk about me being a shy guy, this was more so in middle school and high school, right? So in middle school and high school, and I was shy when it came to women, right? So like I had friends, you know what I mean? Like I had friends, I was cool, you know what I mean? And around my friends I could be cool and stuff, but when it really came down to it, like let's say I was in a one-on-one situation with a girl or whatever, I would just kind of shut down. My personality would just shut down, and I would just turn into like a shy, nice guy that would pretty much do anything for the girl. Like I literally remember in middle school, a girl asked me to tie her shoe, and like I got down on my knees and tied her shoe. And like looking back at that now, it's like, why would you do that? Like it was like, what did that girl do to deserve that? To me, it's like, if you're gonna tie a girl's shoe, then that means you should be willing to tie a guy's shoe, because what's the difference? That girl wasn't giving me anything. She wasn't, you know what I mean? Wasn't my girlfriend, I don't even remember if we were friends like that, but I had her on such a pedestal that she asked me to tie her shoe. I tied her shoe. Remember, she would ask me for gum, and I'd be so happy to give her the gum. I remember like a girl would give me a hug. I would get so happy. Oh yes, finally a hug. But yeah. So being shy, basically, what that meant to me is like I was just had a hard time expressing myself. Had a hard time communicating. From a place of strength, from a place of this is who I am, and you can judge it, and I have no problem with it. It's like I basically felt like I felt like my self-worth and my self-esteem was low, right? And it just in regards to women, like in regards to females, like when it came to them, I felt like I didn't deserve them, or I wasn't good enough, or I would probably figure out a way to mess it up, say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. I was afraid of them. I would be okay with like the girls who weren't so attractive, right? Like the ones who were kind of just whatever. I'd be comfortable with them, but like the ones that I actually found attractive, that was just so difficult. And I remember some girls would show interest, and I would try to like vibe with it, like try to talk to them and stuff, but I didn't have the confidence to lead the relationship. So when they would show interest, they kind of show some interest, right, at first, and they kind of be like, oh yeah, you're cute, whatever. But then I wouldn't really take it anywhere, so they would lose interest and go to the next guy, right? So the question would be like, why was I so shy? Like, where was that coming from, right? And when I look at it, part of it was the religion I was growing up in, right? So I was grown up as a Christian, a Baptist Christian, and what they taught in that religion, I believed it, right? So I believe that when they say you're not supposed to have sex until you're married, I actually believe that I believed that 100%. when they said that, if you sin, you'll end up in hell. I believe that 100%. But at the same time, it's like in school, you have like the cool kids, right? And they act a certain way. They are a certain way. And in order to be associated with them, you have to act that way. You have to be that way. And so that way of being was in conflict with what the religion taught me, or the way the religion taught me to be. The religion taught me to be humble, modest, meek, quiet, not sexually expressive, not dominant, not, masculine. It just took what I learned from the religion, or at least the way I interpreted it. Maybe somebody would interpret it different. I interpret it as you're just supposed to just be like a nice guy. You know what I mean? A nice guy that just doesn't break the rules, doesn't do anything wrong. But what was weird about it was like I was trying to be cool with the other cool kids or whatever, while at the same time follow the religion. So there was this internal conflict. And then, so I felt like I was inhibited. Like I felt like I was like holding my true self inside, and I couldn't really express that, and I didn't know how. I was confused. So that's what was caused a lot of the shyness, right? And then because of my beliefs, I wasn't having many experiences with girls, right? Like certain experiences that a lot of my friends were having, I wasn't having them. So I was lacking in experience, which made me even more shy, made me have less confidence, because I couldn't keep up with my friends because I had this internal conflict. So, I basically, girls would actually say like, oh man, are you shy, or why are you not talking and stuff. I used to hear that all the time. It was because I didn't really know how to express myself properly, having these conflicts that I had, these mental and emotional conflicts that I had with my beliefs not being congruent or not being aligned. It's like they were conflicting. So it was like I was trying to be two people at the same time. I was trying to be the good Christian kid who does what his parents say and doesn't get in trouble and all that stuff. But at the same time, I was trying to be the cool guy. I played basketball, and I had like some swag, like hip hop. I followed the hip hop culture, so I would dress like a hip hop guy or whatever, like a rapper or whatever. But I had these Christian beliefs, so there was like a incongruence, like a conflict there, like a weirdness there, and it would turn girls off because they'd be like, "Yo, what's up with this dude?" And they wouldn't know how to put their finger on it, so they would just say, "You're shy," and they would put that label on me, and I accepted it at the time. So that's how it was from middle school all the way to high school. Like, just make a long story short, like just me just being shy the whole time. You know what I mean? So not kissing a girl. Like, I got a kiss on the cheek, but that was the most. Not having like a legit girlfriend, and not losing my virginity, right? None of those things happened throughout middle school to high school. So once I left high school, while I was in high school, I was learning different things online, like how to get a girlfriend. You could go online and type in how to get a girlfriend, how to pick up girls, whatever. I was reading little stuff here and there, but I didn't really take action on it until I left high school, because while I was in high school, I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna like try that stuff out. Whatever advice they were giving online, or this is how you get the girl or whatever, I'm not gonna try that stuff out in high school. And let's just say it doesn't work out, and then there's like rumors being spread, and now people making fun of me. I'm not dumb. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna try that stuff out. Maybe it might not work, who knows. I think maybe I did try it one time, and literally exactly what I thought was gonna happen happened. Like, I think I said something to a girl, did something, and she took it the wrong way, and like a rumor was spread, oh, he likes her and she rejected him and blah blah blah. And like, I remember coming home like I think I almost cried or something, because it was just so embarrassing, right? But anyway, so from there, okay, once I graduated high school, that's when I decided, okay, let me start going out and trying this stuff out, like doing cold approach pickup, like going and picking up girls like in the daytime and stuff. I started doing it. Started going out, I would do like more like the funny stuff, like, hey girl, put your number in my phone, trying to be funny and stuff, because at the time I didn't know why I was doing it, but now I know. Like, I was trying to be funny and stuff because when you try to be funny and, you know what I mean, be cool or whatever, it's like you're putting up a front. So if something goes wrong, like let's say she rejects you, whatever, you don't take it to heart as much because she's not really rejecting you, at least in your head. That's how you're seeing it. It's like, oh, you're only rejecting my front, you know, you're only rejecting this character that I'm playing. It's not really me, right? So what that did is like, yes, I was applying myself, like yes, I was taking action, but I wasn't truly being me. I wasn't being genuine about it. Like I was trying to be funny and try to play, you know, create a persona to protect myself. And I was interacting with girls from that place. So it didn't really get me too far because like girls can like sniff that stuff out. Like, oh no, this dude is he's not being genuine here. You know what I mean? I didn't know that's what it was at the time, but that's what a lot of the rejection was coming from that. Like I wasn't being genuine. I was trying to like be funny and try to, you know, make my friends laugh and shit like that, instead of really like putting myself out there. You see what I'm saying? And like truly seeing if I can connect with the girl. Like it was more about, yeah, I gotta pick her up, I gotta be cool, I gotta be funny. But anyway, the good thing was I was practicing, you know, I was applying myself. It's better than sitting at home, right? You know, I could have went about it better. It's still better than sitting at home and not doing anything. So kept doing that, kept going out, approaching girls at the mall. When I went to college, I would approach girls in college because college is much bigger, so you don't have to worry too much about consequences as much as you would in like high school, middle school. I approach girls like, you know, around or whatever. I started, you know, to get a little comfortable with it. Like, okay. And like I would get a phone number here and there. You know what I mean? Like that's like the first phase you go through. Like you start getting some phone numbers, but they don't really lead anywhere, right? Like you'll have like some great interactions and you'll get a phone number, but it won't really go too far. You know what I mean? So, but I kept going. I didn't stop. You know, I kept going. You know, kept getting the numbers or whatever. And I think maybe I got my first date eventually at some point. Like a girl agreed to go on a date. It was a cute girl, you know. So we went on the date. And of course the date was super awkward, right? Because I didn't know what to do, what to say, how to be, how to lead. You know what I mean? So she was, and you know, but it was a nice girl. So she was pretty nice about it or whatever. And then I think she like made an excuse. I remember she made an excuse at the end, like, yeah, you know, my friend locked herself out of her room and I have to go help her or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, well, I can come and help. I can come and help too. And she's like, oh no, that's okay. But thanks, this was nice. And of course, you know, never heard from her ever again. And I was, you know, that hurt obviously, because like you finally get a date and you're like, yes, finally I found a girl. And then like, you know, it doesn't go well. But I was able to recover from that. Like that didn't, like, it's not like that happened and I was like, okay, this doesn't work. Like, no, I was like, well, you know what, man, at least I got a date. You see what I'm saying? Like, even though I didn't get a kiss or anything like that, still got a date. So kept going, man, kept going out and approaching girls, talking to girls, kept looking online, learning different things. I would start looking for wingmen. Like I would go online, try to find other guys who were working on their game, working on their dating life. And I start going out with other guys, you know, start seeing other perspectives, you know, how other guys approach girls, how they go about it, whatever. And I just kept applying myself. And I wasn't aware of this, but what was happening is my confidence was going up. You know, my confidence was going up. Sometimes you can't really tell when you're taking action and doing different things. You can't really tell that you're actually growing a lot. But now looking back, it's like, okay, I was growing. You know, I was pushing myself through the rejections. Right? There was a lot of rejections in the beginning. You know, I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't know what I was doing. Right? But at least I was trying, and it was making me stronger, making me more tough-skinned, making me more, you know, making me more grounded and solid as a man. So I kept going, kept pushing through. You know, going out different days, approaching girls. Sometimes I go with a wingman. And, you know, while I was doing that, I still had those beliefs, like the Christian beliefs that I had. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having Christian beliefs, but it was a conflict for me because I didn't want to be a hypocrite. You see what I'm saying? Like, if my belief is saying you're supposed to be one way, my Christian belief, but then I also want, you know, there's a way I see myself. Like, I see myself as a guy who gets girls. I see myself as a confident guy. I don't see myself as a guy who is shy and is underachieving in his daily life. I don't see myself as that guy. So I was having a conflict. But I had the Christian belief so strong that I ended up going into this other church. And this church was actually a cult, or what I would call a cult, because basically they basically try to have you at the church like almost every day, and they will literally tell you to disown your family if your family doesn't accept the church, right? So to me, that's kind of like a cult vibe. But anyway, so I was in that church, and then the reason I was in the church is because they believe their teachings like are very like if you have a question or something, they don't like try to give you their opinion. They go straight to the Bible, right? And they interpret it from the Bible. Like any question that somebody has, they go straight to the Bible. So that was something I liked, because I noticed in like other churches, you'll have a pastor will give his opinion on stuff or try to tell you how things should be. Whereas these people, they would go straight to the Bible. Anytime you have a question, let's open the Bible and look what it says. Let's look what it says. Look. And I was like, okay, this church makes sense to me. But after a while being in the church for almost a year, I realized that, man, the only reason why I'm in this church, the main reason I'm in this church is because I'm afraid of burning in hell. You know, that idea that that concept that they tell you that if you do not do what they say or do not follow the rules, you'll burn in hell. That was making me like basically live life in a fearful way, right? I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live or what religion they should be in, but for me, that made me very fearful. It made me walk around feeling fearful, made me walk around feeling guilty if I did something wrong, made me walk around trying to be perfect, made me walking around judging people, right? If people weren't aligned with the church and their beliefs, I was like, oh, that person's a sinner, that person's going to hell, you're going to hell. You know, that was my mentality, and it just didn't go right with me, right? It just didn't go right with me. It was making me miserable, actually. Making me miserable. I wasn't happy, wasn't fulfilled. I was kind of just doing it because it was just such a strong belief that you have to have a religion, you know, and you have to follow your religion or you'll go to hell, right? So I was in it for some time, and man, I don't know, man. I guess I just matured enough and had enough experience to realize, like, yo, if I want to improve my dating life and I want to become this confident man that does well with women, that has abundance, that has options, that can have a girlfriend, that can finally get a kiss, you know, I can't have these limiting beliefs. Like, that's something you got to know as a man. Like, we all have our different experiences in life, but if you have limiting beliefs, you're not going to achieve your goals. You have to overcome those limiting beliefs and replace them with new beliefs. Like, that's just facts, right? And I didn't notice at the time, but I guess my maturity and, you know, just me living life and having experience, I started to realize it, like, over time. And I was like, man, this is a problem. Like, I can't be conflicted in my mind and in my heart and walking around like that. Like, there's no way I'm gonna attract a woman, like a quality woman like that, you know. Probably gonna attract another woman that's feels broken too, right? And then now we're two broken people in a relationship. I don't think that's cool. So what happened for me is I stayed in the church a little bit longer, and after a while I decided, you know what, man, I have to make a decision. Do I want to live in fear? Do I want to live feeling guilty all the time? Do I want to live feeling like I'm being judged all the time? Or do I want to be free? Right? That was my decision. That's what it came down to for me. And I decided, okay, you know what, I want to be free. And I stopped going to the church, right? They started calling me, hey, where you at, Trey, man? You missed church there. You got to get in church. Stop answering the call. Maybe I answered, like, there's a certain guy in the church that I was cool with. I answered a call for him. And I had a conversation. I told him, look, man, I'm having these conflicts and it just doesn't feel right, man. And I can't live my life like this. Like, literally, I'm becoming miserable, and it's not going well for me, man. It's putting me in a negative place. I have to make this decision. And if anything, if I feel like I'm wrong, I'll come back to the church. You know what I mean? That was the conversation we had. And he was like, all right, brother, you know. And so once I left that church, I was still doing the approaching women and doing the pickup and stuff. But now there was like a huge weight off my shoulders, you know? like I just felt so much better. I felt free. Like, okay, finally I can just be free. Like no more forced beliefs on my mind, on my, you know, on my soul. Now I could just live, right? And I have good intentions. It's not like I'm an evil person. I don't want to hurt anybody or do anything evil. So I felt good with my decision. I was like, look, I could just be a free being that has positive intentions, that just wants to live his life, wants to be happy and achieve his goals in life. So now when I would approach women, I didn't have that conflict. Yeah, I didn't have those limiting beliefs and that conflict of, oh, do follow your religion, don't break the rules, don't sin. And then on this side, I'm trying to like work on my dating life and I'm trying to meet women and you know what I mean? So now I didn't have that conflict. Now I was just free to go after my goal, which was to handle my dating life. Like first thing I wanted to at least get a kiss. Like it was, you know, how old was I? Like probably like 23. Probably like 23 and I still hadn't had my first kiss, like my first legit kiss, right? So I'm like, man. But finally now I'm free, right? I got rid of the belief system that I had before in regards to the religion that was kind of keeping me in a box, right? Mentally and causing conflicts with that way of being versus how I wanted to be, how I truly saw myself. So now I was free. So I was able to, when I approach women now, I was able to communicate more genuinely, like from a better place, from a more peaceful place, you know what I mean? From a more, definitely a much happier place, a much free. I was more free, relaxed, more comfortable around women, less shaky, you know, less nervous, definitely more confident. Like my shoulder, my chest was out more, my chin was up more, my shoulders were back more. You know what I mean? It's like I became a new person. So what happened now is like, I started like moving fast. As far as like the results in my dating life, it started moving fast. Like now the dates were starting to come in more consistently. I was starting to get more numbers. The numbers were turning into dates, right? The dates were still kind of going a little iffy because I wasn't comfortable. But, you know, I still was going on the dates and still was doing my best. You know, at least I remember I started like holding the girl's hand. Like, okay, we're making some progress. I could hold her hand now without feeling nervous. But then, so what happened now is since I no longer had the religious beliefs, you know, some of my friends would go to nightclubs. So I said, you know, let me start checking out these nightclubs, you know, just seeing how that is. I started going to nightclubs with my friends, and that kind of introduced me to a new world where, you know, people are drinking and all this stuff's going on, partying hard, and you see like, you know, a bunch of craziness, and you see a bunch of girls, and it was open, just gave me a new experience of life, you know what I mean? And I started like getting comfortable with the club vibe. The club vibe is kind of crazy. Like if you've never been there before, you go in the club, it's like a lot of noise and wild people in there, and people are drinking, smoking, and stuff like that. So it's a lot of energy and moving around, and it could actually be intimidating because if you're not used to that stuff, it could be definitely intimidating. But I went in there and I was vibing, you know what I mean, and you know, first couple of times it was awkward, but I watched my friends. My friends were very comfortable in the club, so they would dance with girls, you know what I mean? They would spin girls around. They would get the girls to grind on them. They would, you know, have a great time. And I started watching them. I'm like, okay, that's how you do it. Because I'm pretty logical and, like, I'll analyze and, okay, that's how you do it? All right, bet. And then, like, I started trying it for myself. And actually, it was working. Like, I would go up to girls, try to dance. They dance, and, you know what I mean? And it would be so fun, blah, 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 blah. And then what would happen now is some of the times, like, it would lead to like makeouts, right? Because the girls in the club are they basically make the decision to go to the club to have a good time, right? And to be free and express their sexuality and all that stuff. So things can happen in the club that you would probably never see in the daytime, right? So for example, like I remember dancing with some girl or whatever, and she just like turned around and just made out with me, right? And so when that happened, like I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? But it was like a vibe. I was already in the groove of it, and it just kind of felt natural, right? So I just took it, and I was like, whoa, right? So in a sense, my first kiss, I guess you could say, was actually a makeout in the club. I guess you could say that. But I don't really count that as my first kiss because I was like, you know, it was just like a random girl, and it was whatever. what I count as my first kiss was, okay, I kept, doing my thing, going to the club, right? And then one night, we were downtown. I'm in Orlando, Florida, so I was in downtown Orlando, and right, they have the clubs around, but we were outside, right? We were outside the clubs, like walking the streets, right? And we were kind of like just having fun, saying hi to people, having a good time or whatever. And I saw a girl that I thought was attractive, right? And she was sitting on like a railing, like a railing you could put your hand on. She was sitting on it, and she had a friend there or whatever. And I was with my boys, with my friends, and I was speaking like the in a Jamaican accent, right? So like patois, that's what it's called. It's called patois. So I was speaking in a Jamaican accent. I was basically like, yo, wagwan, girl, where I said no, wagwan, like just basically just being playful and having fun. And I kind of expected the girl to just kind of be like, get out of here or whatever. But she started to like talk back, like with the Jamaican accent, right? I was like, oh, whoa, like, okay, cool. And I guess we were kind of going back and forth, like just saying funny things or whatever. And I was kind of just gonna walk away, right? Because we were just having fun, just talking to people, not taking it serious. I did think she was attractive, but wasn't gonna go for anyone. And one of my friends was like, nah, man, you gotta go get her number, man. She was feeling you, bro. And I was like, I don't know, bro. He's like, nah, bro, I'm telling you, just go and get her number. I was like, and because I had all those experiences of approaching girls and getting numbers in the past, I was like, yo, man, why are you doubting yourself? Like, you've done this before. Just go and get her number. So I went up to her, and I said, like, probably said a couple other things, like, you're not ready for me tonight, like just saying funny things or whatever. And she started laughing or whatever. And I was like, I guess at some point I was like, yeah, if you're really about it, you will give me your number, or, like basically just challenge her a little bit, like, oh, why you ain't give me your number yet? What are you waiting for, And she was like, oh, okay, you got my number. And so I got her number, and I think, once I got her number, probably talked a little bit more, and then I just said bye or whatever. And then I went back with my boys, and we kind of hanged out for a little bit longer. I texted her at some point, and I was like, texted her something like, oh, you're not ready for me, or something like that, right? Like a challenge. And then she was like, oh, I'm ready for you, or whatever, right? And so I was like, oh, wow, this girl's actually really interested. So I ended up, arranging a date, and we went to, I believe we went to, at the time there was this place called Downtown Disney. So we went to Downtown Disney, and we kind of hanged out there. And then there's like a little Asian spot, and they have this thing called Sake Sangria, which one of my friends recommended. I take her there, and it's like a bar or whatever. So we went in, we had the Sake Sangria, which is basically like an alcoholic beverage, and we drank that. We had a conversation, you know what I mean? And the funny thing is, I was either 23 or 24, somewhere around there. And she was in her 30s. I want to say like 30 or 32 or something like that. So she was much older than me. But, I didn't let that intimidate me. I just acted like it was all good or whatever, right? And then we were talking, having a good conversation, talking about different things or whatever. And then, okay, so we leave the restaurant. We walk around Downtown Disney and keep talking or whatever, flirting a little bit, holding hands at some point. And then, the end of the night comes, and then we're like, okay, so we got to go back to our car. I was like, yeah, I'll walk you to your car. And I walk her to her car, and she's like older, right? So she kind of, I guess she has experience and stuff, and she could kind of gauge, I think she was able to gauge my experience level. So she was sort of leading in a sense, like, as far as like sexuality. So like she would like touch me, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, because I wasn't doing too much of that because I didn't have as much experience as her, obviously. But yeah, she would like touch me and all this stuff. So she was making it clear she was interested. So like where I'm at now, I would have done a whole lot more with that. But at that time, it's like, okay, I was sort of intimidated, but not too much, right? Because I had a little alcohol in my system because we were drinking earlier. And so basically, we walked to her car, and then it's kind of like, oh shit, what do I do now, right? But she's like, okay, so I guess I'll see you later. And then this is funny, like I I don't recommend guys do this, but I did this because I guess I must have was nervous or whatever. But I was like, hey, can I kiss you? You know, because I don't believe you should ask for a kiss. I believe you should just go for it. But I didn't really have the confidence to just go for it at the time. So I was like, hey, can I kiss you? And she was like, yeah. And then I kissed her, and then that was my first kiss, right? And it's funny because when I kissed her, I guess like because it was my first kiss, like I was so appreciative of it, right? Because of all the things I had to do to get to that point. You know, it didn't happen to me naturally or easily. So I like maybe must have kissed her longer than normally you would kiss someone. And she was like, wow, you really like kissing, huh? I remember her saying that, and then I just kind of like laughed it off or whatever. But it just showed me that I must have really it must have been a passionate kiss or something for her to say something like that, whatever. But yeah, so that's how I got my first kiss. That was a huge confidence boost because, you know, my first kiss was with a girl who was much older than me, right? Like, she was 30 years old. I was, right? So to me, like, that was like a great accomplishment to achieve that with the girls older. You know, most guys, that's a limiting belief for them. They can't date a girl that's older than them or assume the role of a man in the relationship and lead properly. But I was able to get that first kiss, and I think I maybe went on one more date with her. But I would say she was looking for something more long-term, and I was just a little bit too young for her, right? That's how I'm looking at it now. I believe that's why that ended, because I tried to make it go further, but she kind of like cut it off, kind of ghosted me or whatever. So now looking back, it's like, okay, she must have was like, she at least gave me a chance to see like what I'm about, but she probably just realized, nah, he's too young for me, you know. I want something more long-term. I need a man who's more confident, has more experience, so who can lead me properly. So that was fun while it lasted. From there, I went on some more dates, and you know, got some more kisses, right? So kissing became a normal thing at some point, and now, you know, I just, you know, if you compare how I was at that point to how I was like in high school, middle school, the shy guy is like a completely different guy, right? So so from there, you know, kept doing my thing, kept doing the approaching, right? Even started my own business and, you know, had some success with that as far as like I used to build websites and build sales funnels for people. So that was also boosting my confidence as a man too, by having a business that was actually making good money and had my own office and all these things. But I was still approaching girls and stuff. And so yeah, I was doing the, you know, approaching girls in the day, like at the club, the malls, grocery stores, you know, at college or whatever. And I would go to the clubs too. And basically I got my first girlfriend from a club, right? I went to a club, I was partying in the club, having a great time, dancing, you know, doing my thing. And then I talk about this in one of my videos, but basically there was a girl in there that I danced with. And when I was dancing with her, she, like I was gonna, you know, walk away or whatever and just go with my friends or go do something else. And she held onto my hand and she was like, oh, when I see something I like, I stick with it or I don't leave it or something like that, right? And I kind of was like, whatever. It's just like in my head, I didn't say this out loud, but in my head, I'm like, it's just some drunk girl saying some crazy shit. Probably not gonna, you know, probably doesn't mean it or whatever. But she wouldn't let go of my hand. Like she basically held my hand for the rest of the night. And she basically invited me to go back to her place. I ended up going back to her place. And basically that was how I lost my virginity, right? And that girl ended up becoming my girlfriend for a few months. And then we cut it off for personal reasons. But yeah, so I basically just continued this idea of cold approaching. Like I never left that skill set. Like it's not like I got a girlfriend and this happened and then I just stopped. I kept going with it because I knew that there was higher levels to go, and also I didn't want to lose the skill. I think it's a great skill to have, to be able to go out and approach women and meet them like at will, like at any time, and do it in a confident way, in a successful way. That's a great skill to have, because now you have abundance. As a man, it's great to be able to create abundance and have options and be able to make things happen, as opposed to wait for it to happen or hope it happens. You know what I mean? So kept doing my thing or whatever, met some other girls and did my thing or whatever. went on more dates, had more experiences with girls, pulled girls from the club, you know, just having a bunch of different experiences with girls. Because if you know, it's a skill, and the more you develop the skill, the higher quality the experiences become. So I just kept doing that, man, until I just became like super confident with women. Like that's the best way for me to put it. Just all that repetition. Obviously, I'm studying. You know, I'm learning about female psychology. I'm reading self-improvement books. I'm improving myself as a man at the same time. It's not like I'm just approaching girls, not doing anything else with my life. I'm building a business. You know what I mean? I'm working with clients all over the world. You know, so basically, I went from shy to confident guy by living life, but not being content or settling, right? Like, I challenge myself, my limiting beliefs. I challenge myself to become greater. I challenge myself to get exactly what I want. Like, instead of like saying, you know, that's too far out there, or imagine if I would have accepted that shy guy thing. Like, imagine if I accepted, like, you know what, I'm just the shy guy. Like, imagine if I would have accepted that and just kept that framed on my whole life. Where would I be right now? Man, I don't even want to know where I would be right now. You know? So you have to challenge your limiting beliefs. You have to challenge what society tells you how you're supposed to be, or what you know, these people that are telling you how you need to be. Like, look at your childhood, right? Be appreciative of those experiences, whatever happened, you know what I mean? Try to see the positive in it. But know that whatever happened in your childhood and whatever you were raised on and whatever beliefs you were given, all right, you had those beliefs, but as you become an adult, you have the power and the authority to challenge those beliefs, because they may not be supporting you as an adult, right? Your way of thinking, you become more mature, you evolve, you know, those beliefs may not be aligned with how you want to be as an adult, right? So you have to break those limiting beliefs and replace them with new beliefs that support you and your goals, so you can become the person you want to be, right? And get and achieve the goals you want to achieve, and live the life you want to live. So yeah, pretty much I built that confidence. That's kind of how I went from shy guy to confident, right? Like, and then from there, getting a girlfriend, you know, I was able to create rotations. So rotations basically when you're seeing multiple women that you're into romantically and sexually, right? So I've had like these different relationship dynamics and different experiences or whatever, and it continues to go. It doesn't stop, right? Because this is a way of being for me, right? It's not just like something I do once a month or what. It's something I do on a daily basis, right? So it creates these experiences in life, and it makes my life fulfilling, and I enjoy my life because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. It's not like somebody's forcing me to do it or telling me to do it. I'm doing exactly what I want to do, right? So I'm fulfilled. I'm happy. I wake up and I'm excited. You know, it's not hard. Like, I used to hate waking up early. Now I wake up early and I'm like, yo, let's go. Because I'm doing exactly what I want to do, right? So I can't wait to wake up. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to, imagine if you know, which a lot of people are in this situation where they have to do things they don't want to do. They have to, right? So that's the video. If you're a guy watching this and you would like to, you like to improve your dating life. You like to become more confident. You like to become more grounded. You like to become more attractive. But you would like some help with that, right? You like some help. You like some guidance. Go ahead and send me a private message. Let's have a conversation. Let's see exactly what steps you need to take to start living the life and creating the dating life of your dreams. Thanks for watching. Peace.